What does the Great Wave have to do with Frankenstein's monster and ancient Egyptian chemists? So the story actually starts with this guy, Georg Stahl. He's a German chemist and physician who in 1704 is trying to make red lake pigment, which requires the use of these beetles, cochineal beetles. They use them in strawberry milkshakes, and potash. So he goes to his supplier of potash, who sells him some wonky potash, and when he cooks his red lake pigment, he gets this beautiful blue, which he calls Berlin blue. Turns out that potash was contaminated with cow's blood, but that's neither here nor there. But what it meant was he was the first person in 4,000 years to come up with a synthetic blue. The Egyptians did it first in 3400 BC, and that's why it says the first modern synthetic pigment. So he keeps it as a monopoly, and for about 40 years he's making good money on it until a British chemist figures it out and publishes it. So he has to look for other work. He decides to look into how do I create eternal life, and uses a few cadavers to come up with some experiments. We'll come back to that in a minute. That synthetic blue becomes a global phenomenon, and particularly in Japan, that Prussian blue is influential to many people like Hokusai, who starts adding more and more of it until we get the Great Wave. And you see this evolution. Hokusai goes from a tiny wave to a much larger wave, but even the largest wave before the Prussian blue is not nearly as exciting as the final composition. Now, certainly the composition is great, but the blue makes it pop. And what does this have to do with Frankenstein? Well, Mary Shelley hears about his experiments with cadavers, and they say it might be the source for her book.